Hi, I'm Dale Robertson. And you know, the way I figure it, 90% of the world's made up of just two kinds of people. Those who own horses, and those who would love to own them. Now, if you or your family fit in either of those two categories, then let me suggest you sit back, relax, while we bring you the American horse and horseman. I think you're going to like this week's show. It's a show of contrasts. On one hand, you'll see horse and man working in perfect harmony. Greyhound, who many people conclude is the greatest horse that was ever harnessed. And on the other hand, we're going to look at the unsung heroes of the rodeo world, the broncs themselves. Though each has his own particular style, they all have the same goal in common. Get the cowboy off their back as fast as possible. I will be back with these stories in just a few moments. Greatness. How do you judge it? By the number of records set? How long they stand? If so, the horse you're about to see is truly great. He's a standard bred, a trotter as we call him. His name? Greyhound. One of the greatest horses ever to compete in any equestrian event since official records have been kept. It was 1934, and the Depression hadn't spared the racing business. Many tracks stood silent, deserted. Money was scarce, purses were small, and what little harness racing there was confined to county fairs and rural tracks. The sport was at a low ebb, and it needed a savior. What they got was a ghost, Greyhound, the great gray ghost. June the 8th, 1934, Fairgrounds track of Columbus, Ohio. A big gray gelding, 16-1 at the shoulder, wins his first start with a good timed mile. Greyhound, then owned by Colonel T.J. Baker of St. Charles, Illinois, and Zeb Pollum was driving. By the time Greyhound retires as an 8-year-old in 1940, he and Zeb Pollum had set 25 records, many of which still stand today, and a 1 mile time of 1:55 1/4. It took his challengers almost 30 years to beat. Now, Greyhound had an inauspicious beginning for a wonder horse that would win 71 of 82 lifetime starts. His first owner had found him lazy and awkward. Then he was more than happy to sell the gangly gray yearling to Colonel Baker for just $900. But Baker and Zeb Pollum were impressed by Greyhound's courage and power. In their hands, the awkwardness turned into a thing of rare beauty. At his peak, Greyhound could exceed 21 feet in a single stride, and at full tilt, he hit 35 miles an hour. But despite its unusual length, Greyhound's stride was precise and steady. He never broke gait. His powerful hindquarters seemed to give him a sort of an overdrive, and even at top speed, he showed a breathtaking majesty, dignity, and poise. Greyhound ended his first year with 6 straight victories, plus a mile of 2:04 3/4, a record for 2-year-old geldings. He won every one of his 3-year-old starts. He took the classic Hamiltonian stakes roaring down the stretch like a runaway locomotive. His coat was beginning to whiten, and he stood out like a bolt of lightning. He trotted his first 2-minute mile in Springfield, and people said he looked like a wild horse coming down the wire. But folks began to whisper about a new champion. A horse to beat Peter Manning's mile record of 1:56 3/4 that was set in 1922. On September the 29th, over the famous Red Mile at Lexington, Kentucky, the Gray Ghost did just that. He blistered the oval at 1:56 flat to become the fastest trotting horse in the world. He was just hitting his stride 1 year to the day later, again at Lexington, a chilly, overcast day. At harness racing's greatest moment, his mane whipping behind him in the bitter cold wind, his head held high, and Zeb Pollum urging him on, talking him home. Greyhound pounds out a fantastic time of 1:55 1/4. From then on, all harness racing record books were ghost-written. Whenever he raced, fans from miles around came to see the old times fall. He went the 1.5 miles in 3:02.5 and 2 miles in 4:06. Both records still stand today. By 1939, no one dared to face the ghost. The only challenger left was the clock. Well, or maybe there was one new challenge, like the team record. Neither Greyhound nor the then current trotting Queen Horsemen had ever run to pole before. They teamed for a record that is yet to be beat, 1:58.25 the mile. Colonel Baker announced that 1940 would be Greyhound's last year, and for a fitting swan song, he took on the last record still standing. Greyhound had never trotted under saddle before, but it didn't seem to matter, as he flashed through his last world record, 2:01 3/4, and still stands today. The Ghost retired in triumph to Colonel Baker's farm in Maple Park, Illinois. His vast public still demanded an occasional appearance like this exhibition at the ripe old age of 16. Mostly, though, he just held court. Visitors traveled from all over the world to see the horse that still held 15 world harness racing records. Now, one little boy from Holland said he'd come to America to see the Statue of Liberty, the Grand Canyon, and Greyhound. During his later years, Greyhound grew thinner and a little bonier, and he had a touch of arthritis. But he still carried himself proudly, almost haughtily, like the true champion that he was. And as he is here at 30, in fact, longevity is the only record that Greyhound didn't break, and even then he came pretty close. He lived to the remarkable equine age of 33. During those long years after his retirement, his records stood fast. Many of them still do. It wasn't until 1968, 3 years after Greyhound's death, that Neverly Pride out-trotted his record mile by a fraction of a second. And even if his remaining records do fall someday to better trained trotters on faster tracks, Greyhound will continue to be the dominant figure in horse racing. He was a true champion in the fullest sense of the word. He lifted the waning world of harness racing from its darkest hour to some of its brightest moments. Greyhound, the great gray ghost. On the rodeo circuit, bucking horses are highly respected because for every one of them that becomes a member of the rodeo, was a dozen that didn't. Now, beyond having size, power, and ability, it's important that he has a very definite dislike for having cowboys up on his back. And a horse with this combination, well, he can get a good steady job working about 8 to 10 minutes a year and enjoying some pretty good fringe benefits along with it. Now, the famous Flying U rodeo, well, they winter quite a herd of these impressive animals just outside Arbuckle, California. Cotton Rosser, the boss of the Flying U, kind enough to take me on a tour.
Horses that do that. That old Jubilee horse that I rode, he had his little quirks and everything. And he never did get rid of me. You know, I remember some of the great old bucking horses. Midnight, 5 minutes to midnight, I believe they're buried back there at the Cowboy Hall of Fame. I know you've got some great ones. The only thing is, yours aren't retired yet, are they?
No, I got a few of them. We retired a horse called a Whiz Bang and sent him on there to Andy Harrigi's ranch there in Newhall, and a horse called Cheyenne. We retired him. It's kind of funny though. Sometimes you turn them old horses out, they kind of slow down. If you keep them active and keep them going, like old people, you know. I think sometimes they retire, they kind of dwindle away, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Anything any prettier than that? Ain't he pretty?
Yeah, he's a nice horse. You know,
Beautiful
he's an
horse.
ex-saddle horse. That horse bucked me off right in front of the governor of Idaho at Twin Falls, Idaho.
Rodeo men have always had a real love for truly good horses. And Flying U ranch foreman Jim Pratt former saddle bronc champion is no exception.
Go, go.
Well, I pretty much just kind of fell into a ranch foreman from being a rodeo cowboy. I don't know, it works back and forth. It's one horse to another, you know, it's both ends of it. These horses have some place to live besides the rodeo arena. And so do I, and it's kind of compatible, I guess. Well, it's the reason I'm in rodeo business, I don't know. Some people say you don't have anything else to do, lack of sanity. But the reason I'm in is I get the satisfaction of riding a horse that bucks good, one that bucks hard, and it's probably the best feeling I've had in a long time. In fact, I've ever had. And the more I'm around it, the more I get respect for it through my own views. And its lifestyle and the people that's brought into it are the people that I respect. This is what put the bread and butter on the table. I have a great respect for a bucking horse because I like to ride broncs, and I see it's harder to find a bucking horse anymore. But the actual horses themselves, they deserve a lot of care, and we try to give it to them because they're a financial as well as kind of a spiritual aspect because we respect them.
For one thing, these valuable horses are very valuable. You know, there's a lot of bucking horses sell for $10,000, $15,000, and if you win a prize at the National Finals, Black Velvet Awards, you get $8,000. So in order to win these awards, these horses got to be conditioned and fit just like a racehorse or a show horse. Now, we don't try to curry them or things like that. No. But the way we fit these horses is, number one, is having them in good shape, on good feed, grain, hay.
Well, I can look through this bunch, I can see 30 years on several of them. See the old gray muzzle on them, they look like the horse in somebody's backyard, which some of them might have been at one time.
We get a lot of people that call us about a cranky horse they've got they can't handle. Usually it's a big, strong, stout horse when I go out and look at them, or they bring them to us, and they got that look in their eye, the little white in their eye, and yet they just got the disposition that they just don't want to have anything to do with folks riding on their backs. So that's what they bring to us, these big old strong horses, and we try them out and then see how good they do and put them in the string.
Just the simple attitude that he don't want anybody on his back. That's what makes a horse buck. Maybe he likes to be petted, but he don't want to be rode. They just don't want to be rode. It's more of an attitude, it's not really a breed. And you find a little bit of cantankerous or misfit about any horse breed you see. That's what we end up with. The difference between a saddle bronc and a bareback isn't really that much difference. Usually the bareback horses are a little smaller, and the saddle broncs have to be a little stronger to take the pulling on the head.
How do you decide which one's going to be a saddle bronc, which one's going to be a bareback?
Well, usually the bigger horse is a better saddle bronc. I mean, it makes a better horse. Number one, he's packing a 40-pound saddle and a 125-pound rider. So we take the bigger horses, a little bigger headed, a little stronger, thicker horses. And the lighter horses, of course, go in the bareback ride. And the younger horses go in the bareback ride. Then when they get 2 or 3 years under their belt, we wham them into saddle bronc riding, and away they go the rest of their life.
I know that the bucking strap has been a controversial thing and certainly a misunderstood thing with so many people. They think that bucking strap that you put on a horse, a lot of people have said, yeah, but it's got nails in it that makes the horse buck, or it's got burrs in it, it's got this.
No, it doesn't hurt him or injure him or anything like that. Tickles him under the flanks and makes him kick a little higher. It's kind of like putting a rubber band around a kitten's paw. You know, he wants to shake and get it off, or tickling you under the arms a little bit.
The flank strap don't make a horse buck. The only thing the flank strap does is make a kick. Just to do, it kind of tickles him. He's ill familiar with the feeling of a flank strap. It's easy to get a horse used to a flank strap. That's why they don't leave them on very long. But a flank strap is just there to kind of help encourage and make a horse kick a little more. They found these horses to buck through them just bucking. The flank strap just adds a little more kick to it.
Well, of course, we have a breeding program here on the ranch and called Born to Buck, you know. I bought Casey Tibbs' whole outfit out and bought General Custer down here and all them mares from South Dakota, and we've had pretty good luck breeding them. You know, they say you can breed fighting bulls and fighting chickens and race horses, and we were talking about paint horses a while ago, and I think a cranky mare will always have a cranky colt. I've proved that right here on the ranch. In fact, we had a world champion bucking horse this year, and he was from a cranky mare and a Casey Tibbs bucking horse stud. So we've had real good luck breeding bucking horses.
My horses probably work in a whole year's time, probably work about, 30 minutes a year. Yours will work what?
Oh, yeah, at the most 8 minutes. They buck about
8 seconds a time.
8 seconds.
And we work 7 days a week, and half the night most of the time, trying to make enough money to feed them and keep them going. I just wonder where in the heck we went wrong. Them horses got it made.
But we have a lot of horses that are bucking, God, my golly, 20, 25, even old high tides bucking at 32.
Yeah, well, if I only had to buck 8 seconds a time, I believe I could work till I was about 100.
Yeah, you know, they don't have to get up 5 o'clock in the morning and work all day. But the only thing with the older horses, you have to keep them up and keep them a little more fit, because to take an old horse, you got to have a little softer feed for him to eat and keep his teeth floated, keep him warm, keep his feet trimmed. And we keep good care of them because that's why they last so long, we think, and they're doing what they want to do, you know, just a way of life with the bucking horse.
Wanted to bring you out here and let you meet a man, Cotton Rosser, that has been at it a long time. I don't believe you can love animals any more than Cotton Rosser loves them, and most of the rodeo producers that I know, Tommy Steiner and Lynn Butler and all of them, I've known all those boys for years. And all these men love animals and certainly not going to do anything to them to hurt them. And that's what we've tried to prove to you here today. You've seen a beautiful ranch, a lot of beautiful horses, and certainly a beautiful man inside, I'll tell you that now. I'm glad to have been a part of it. Thank you, Cotton.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that's our show for this week. But I'd like to give a very special thanks to Mr. Cotton Rosser and the Flying U Rodeo for their help and their cooperation. We'll be back next week with more stories about American horses and horsemen. Until then, good day.